Hey everyone, I'm Erin, and this is the Cardboard Republic. We have a to-be-played video for you for the month of February. We're gonna get right into that. A to-be-played video goes over all of the games that we want to play during the current month, or sometimes if we're like way ahead of the game, the upcoming month. For this one though, we're gonna think about February. First though, let's look back at January and see how we did. Santorini was our indie game of the month for January, and we totally played it. We played it a couple times, and it is really, really cool. It's pretty abstract when you get down to it, but it does have a light theme to it, the theme of building the city of Santorini. It's very, very pretty, and the game, if you've seen pictures of it, is pretty memorable because you do all of the building, this like tactical block placement in 3D on this raised board structure. So it's really, really neat just to see and watch. I love board games that have interesting components to them, and Santorini is definitely one of those. We will be getting a review out on that pretty soon, so look around for that. Aeon's End is the next game that we played. This is a co-op deck builder, but the trick is you don't shuffle your deck at the end of every however many rounds it takes you to go through it. Instead, you take whatever you've put on your deck, flip it over. That is your new deck. That's what you're playing with. So there's a lot of strategy involved in the game in terms of what you're discarding and in what order, because that can really make or break your next few turns. This was cool in like that concept. That different take on a deck builder was neat because deck builders have kind of been done to death at this point. So seeing someone do something really new with it was really amazing. I didn't love the game overall, but I think that that's an interesting enough mechanic that I want to give it another shot. One Deck Dungeon is a very small game for 2 players. You can combine the games and play with 4 players, but ultimately you are delving through a dungeon comprised of one single deck of cards. You all have a hero with unique skills, and you're fighting monsters and kicking down doors and trying to get to the bottom of the dungeon. We played this one, and I don't know if it's just that it was our first time or if Ryan is just really prone to taking a long time to play a game, but our first play dragged. So I want to try it again now that we know what we're doing, maybe try it with a couple different people and see how it goes, because I love the way that it plays, but it was kind of a little too slow for me to stay engaged when it feels like it should be a very quick game, and I think it's designed to be a very quick game, so that might have just been us. Either way, though, I'm going to try it again, and we'll be putting out probably a review on that, either on the podcast or on the site pretty soon. Tramways is the next game on our list, and unfortunately we did not get this to the table. It's an economic simulation game about building tramways. It is basically like as Euro as you can get without actually just making a game about building like banks. So we could not find the time for that one in January, but we are still hoping to get it to the table pretty soon. I know it's one that a few of our friends are interested in too, so hopefully we can get a good group together with plenty of time and patience to learn it. Prospectus is the other game that we weren't able to play during the month of January. Unfortunately, this is just another big, sort of heavy game. In this one, though, the theme is all about assembling these potions and selling them off and trying to be the best alchemist or whatever, however they call it. But you're trying to be the best, and it takes a while. The game just takes a while, but it's really cool because it has this like crystal ball structure, dice tower, cube tower thing that you put a bunch of cubes into every turn, and then they like come out. So it's really striking. I kind of want to play this one at a convention or something because I think that the components will draw people to the table. So Prospectus, it did not make it in January, but I hope that with convention season approaching, we'll find the time to bring this out. Dark Gothic was our card pull of January. So that's when I shuffle a deck of cards with a bunch of games written on them, and I draw one, and we promise to play and review it in January or shortly thereafter. So we did play it. We've played it a few times over the course of the last year or so, and I think we've played it now enough to actually review it, so we are going to be doing that pretty soon, which is good because Dark Gothic plays a lot like Ascension in that it has a central row of cards that you buy from to add to your own deck. It has this like semi-co-op thing going on where some cards you buy can hurt other people, but you're also all working together to hurt the like big bad guy. And honestly, something about it just doesn't work well for me. Those two aspects of it, the semi-co-opness doesn't really fit. So I think that I'm eager to review this one and like get my thoughts out on it because I spend a lot of time thinking about what it is about this game that just doesn't click for me. Besides the art. All right, so overall, that's 4 out of 6 games that we played during January, which isn't too bad. January was a pretty good gaming month for us overall. We got a lot of things to the table, even not including those games that we just talked about. So I'm excited, and I'm also excited to look forward to February. We have an impressive list of games that we want to get played in February, so let's get started with that. Our game of the month for February is Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven is ginormous. It is a huge game. It's the next legacy-style game to really, really take off. And it's set in this fantasy universe. You play as a character going out on quests, defending the town, doing all sorts of role-playing game type things. All of those things come back and give you extra skills and bonuses that you can use from one game to the next. Also, in the legacy thing, is some of the locations that you visit are no longer available next time. Some of the things that you do, some of the quests that you go on can impact the town and impact your character in the future. So there is a lot going into this game, and it takes a while to like really, really understand and sink your teeth into and just to play. So imagine how much time it takes to like play it enough to thoroughly review it. But that's what we're going to be trying to do. So Gloomhaven itself, I feel like we should just cut the rest of this list and just have Gloomhaven, but Ryan told me we couldn't do that. We're offsetting that by doing some light games. So our next one is Escape the Room, The Secret of Dr. Gravely's Retreat. We've played a couple of these Escape the Room box games before where the box is full of a bunch of puzzles that tell a story, kind of like an Escape the Room that you would go to with a bunch of friends, only you can do it at your table. And this is another one of those. In my experience, they've been a little bit on the easier side, but still really fun and engaging. So I want to try this to maybe break up those playthroughs of Gloomhaven that are going to drive me up the wall. To make it even easier on ourselves, we're also going to play the Murder, She Wrote board game. It was made in like 1985, and I'm pretty sure it's a roll and move, and it might have some aspects of Clue in it, but like also maybe not. It has this really horrible picture of Jessica Fletcher on the front. So pumped. Murder, She Wrote is my like go-to TV show when I've had a bad day and I just need to unwind with something mindless. So for me, I'm hoping that the game can kind of bring that same experience, only I'll actually be with friends instead of on my couch with Netflix. Getting back into a little bit more heavier actual games, getting back into like actual games as we know them, we have New Angeles. This is a game set in the same universe as the Android Netrunner series, and you are playing as one of the megacorps. You have your own secret agenda that you're trying to achieve. There's a lot of negotiation involved dealing with the other megacorps in the city, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you don't let the actual city around you crumble to ruin as you try to pursue your own goal. So there's a bit of a balancing act there. I think this one might be a little too ruthless for me, especially coming off of like Murder, She Wrote and an Escape the Room game. I'm gonna be feeling like pretty good. I'm probably not gonna wanna die horribly, but we will see what happens. I might bow out of this one and let Ryan play with some of our other friends. Our replay game, so that's a game that we played at least once before and want to play again, is Via Nebula. This is a game in which you're trying to develop a valley. You have to create a transportation network, build buildings, manage resources, etc., etc. Pretty standard light to medium weight Euro kind of fare. I think I can handle this one, even coming off of Murder, She Wrote, so I'm gonna give it a try. Also, I heard that there are like pigs and stuff in this game, and I love games with animals. Okay, so now is the time when I take this deck of cards, shuffle it, pick one, and that's a game that we pledge to play and review in February and shortly thereafter. Getting the game entirely played and reviewed within 1 month was a little bit tricky, so we're extending it, but we will play it in February. Ready? Oh. Freedom, Underground Railroad. Well, this is fitting because it is Black History Month here in the States, and Freedom Underground Railroad, the whole theme is based on the Underground Railroad that helped to transport slaves from the South, where they were still enslaved, to the North, where they could be free. So that whole process was incredibly difficult, and we don't always learn enough about it in schools. This game has a lot of education built into it, and the theme is obviously pretty heavy. So we are going to play this for sure and get out a review because I think it's an important game to play and an important story to tell. And it's also really interesting to see a game tackle a topic like this so seriously and so well, because I've heard really good things about it. So Freedom Underground Railroad. Okay, that's our February. We have a pretty weird mix of super heavy games and super light games and Murder, She Wrote, which is probably not even really a game by like modern standards. So either way, I'm really excited. We have some great things to put on our table this month. I'm kind of bummed because I'm starting up my classes again really soon, so I'm gonna have to bow out of some of our normal game nights, but hopefully I will be able to be there for all of these, except for maybe 1 or 2 of them, but we'll see. So as always, we would love to hear whatever games you have planned for February. Just comment below. Also like and subscribe if you haven't done so. We have a Patreon that helps fund all of these videos and all of the other content that we put out. So the link to that is in the show notes. And if you would like to subscribe to it, we would really appreciate it. I think that is all for now, but we'll be back again soon with another video. Bye. Okay. So now is the time where I take this deck of cards, shuffle it poorly off camera, a current month or the upcoming month, kind of depending on our schedule. I can hear them going every time I talk. Damn. Cat hair in my nose.